Welcome back, everybody, to the Ducati build. So we are on step number 20 this time. We just finished up the radiator and have that all installed with its wiring. So it's all looking the part. We're getting closer and closer to getting a front wheel on this thing. All right, tonight we're starting with step number 20, attaching the side covers, which are C12 and C22, and they get painted LP5 with a couple little bolt heads and areas that will be X11, which is a chrome silver. So as you guys know, I use Maltiv chrome pin and a brush to, anytime I need X11, I use that. It says that we're going to need LP70 for part of this little linkage here, which the main body is LP5 with a decal on it, and then both of the ends and the rod right there is X11 chrome silver, and then the end is LP70, which is a gloss aluminum. So we are also tonight going to tackle step number 21 to add to this step, and that is building part of the headlight and attaching the headlight assembly. So we will use some of the masking tape that Tamiya provides, the patterns, to mask off this clear part, E12. We'll paint that all LP5, semi-gloss black, and then remove those, and we'll have the clear headlights. Paying close attention to remove all these little nubs. Then we will, the housing that it attaches to is also painted semi-gloss black, C3. The two little inner lights will have like a little halo of LP19, which is gunmetal, which we just used this on my Nissan build. So that goes around those smaller inner lights. And then this housing inside gets painted flat white. And the outer housing is LP5 semi-gloss black. So everything pretty much, even this little piece here, C6, is semi-gloss black. So those are the 4-5 colors we're actually going to use. LP70, LP5, Molotov chrome, LP4 flat white, even though the directions call for XF2, which is a flat white. We're using the LP version, and then our gunmetal LP19. Those are the only colors we'll need for this part, this step, these two steps. So I am going to cut some parts out, and we'll be right back. All right, I am back. We got some parts cut out and ready for, let's see, for step 20, we need D32, which is this fun little piece right there. We need B28, which is going to be the LED screen. So all of these are going to be painted semi-gloss black LP5 first before we do any detail painting. The attaching side covers, which is C12 and C22, they get attached by two little screws when it's time. So we have those two right here. Those will get painted LP5. And then painting for the backside is C6 LP5. This main unit, which is right here, C3, gets painted LP5, but we have to paint this XF2 flat white inside first. So I'm going to paint that first and then come back and shoot the LP5. Just mask that off real quick, and so that way it's a nice demarcation. So then that takes care of that one. And then we have this assembly of lights, which almost looks like the Batmobile. But we use masking A and masking B to mask that off to keep it clear. So Tamiya gives you, or Tamiya, I'm being corrected. Tamiya, follow the guidelines. So we are looking for A and B. And if you look on here, it says do not paint. It says do not paint the reverse side. So I'm trying to figure out why they're giving you 2 decals for A and B. Oh, gosh, if you just read, it says spares. So that way if you mess up, which, you know, sometimes I do. So we're going to cut this. Then we're going to cut B. All right, so it goes on this side right here. I'm trying to make sure I get it to line up. You can kind of see in the glass where it's supposed to go. And I'm going to grab just a little Q-tip and just rub down the sides. So when I airbrush it, it doesn't give me any bleeding through. So we'll grab the A one now. Do the same thing. That little piece of corner on there. Okay, so that is ready for paint. Now, what I'm going to do, because I get nervous about this stuff, I get nervous about overspray since I don't want to paint the back of it. So it said not to paint the back of it, but I'm going to cover up the lights from the back side as well. So that way, if I do happen to get any overspray, I don't pull the tape and go, oh, my lights have black on it. All right, so that is masked and ready for LP5. What we're gonna do is just cut that a little bit more. So that piece is ready. Ready for LP5. This piece gets no paint. So we're gonna set that way off here so it doesn't get messed with. All right, so I'm gonna go shoot the flat white on here first, just the inside down in this little shelving area in here. So I'm gonna just shoot all of that flat white, and then I'm gonna come back in and mask it off real quick. But the rest of the parts, I'll hand paint these. So we'll be back with some paint and decals. All right, I'm back from the spray booth where we have some really nice stuff done. We have that part. All of my semi-gloss black is painted. So we can get these up and out of the way. We're by no means done, but there is the LED screen, which we will need. I keep moving everything out of the way. I guess I zoomed in too much. And we have the headlight part, which we use those Tamiya masks for. So let's grab and take those off. Those are the parts I put on. And we will pick the corners up. Try not to scratch the glass. It's a nice solid line there. A nice solid line there. So we have our headlights started. So we'll see how those all look when they're all glued in place. We have our our white inside there done. Now we have to do everything around there in black, which we will do here shortly. And then we'll do these little parts with their LP19 around the edges. So still got some work to do before we actually get to actual glue and do any of that kind of stuff. Forgot about this one, and it gets the chrome silver and the gloss aluminum treatment. So we're gonna put all those back. And I'm gonna go ahead and mask this off inside there. It's just I think it's gonna be real simple, just small pieces of masking tape to just to go in to those edges and this outside edge, and then everything else is LP5. So I will do that real quick. Move all these pieces out of the way. Okay. So we're just gonna cut small pieces of tape. So that way we can come in at an angle. Detack it a little bit. I'm gonna work up into that corner. Just kind of follow the line along the edge. Figured I'd save you the craziness of me masking all that, but you saw me do one half of it, so I basically just duplicated it on the other half. So now I'm going to go shoot this, and we'll be done with the semi-gloss black parts, and then we can hand paint all the other details for these two steps. So I will be right back. All right, I am back, and it is dry, and now my funnest, well, one of my favorite parts is taking off the masking tape. We got pretty good, well, a couple little areas right back in here that I'm just gonna come in and touch up. But yeah, really happy with that. So we will let that sit for a minute. All right, now we are going to paint part number D32. We're going to paint the LP70 on the end of it, and then we're going to grab that with the chrome silver. Probably gonna come back and just touch that bolt with a little bit of gold. That's good. Now, we're gonna let that dry before we paint the silver. So what we are going to do now is it calls for, in step 21, E2 and E3. Right around it goes the LP19, which is the gunmetal color. So we're going to do that real quick. All right, after a nerve-wracking paint job, because it seems like colors just don't like to adhere to clear parts. So we're gonna let those dry quite a while before I try to install them. So, because they're gonna be very fragile. So we are now gonna move on to, now we're gonna move on to some decals. So we need a decal for this piece, D32. We need decal 43. And we need decal 49 for the screen. And I believe that's all the decals we need. So 49 or 43. All right. Decal 43 is right there. And our instrument cluster, our LED screen, we can either use 49 or 50. So I am partial to 50. So we are going to use 50. I'm going to cut it as close to it as I can so it has no fit issues. All right. This decal. As tiny as it is, goes right there. Drop a little bit of other silver set on there, just a little bit. And that'll help suck it down better. So we're just going to set that off to the side. And we are going to work on our LED screen. All right, when you apply this decal, note your orientation. The peg goes down so you can read the gauge itself. So we're just gonna get it centered in there. Use our ever handy Q-tip. There's not a lot of water coming off of this decal right now, so that's a good thing. So we're gonna do the same thing. I don't think we need the solva set this time because that went down really well. So our gauge cluster LED screen is in. So we can actually, I'm wondering if I don't paint the chrome silver on here until it's on the actual bike. it snaps onto this peg right here. Oof. There we go. And I didn't wait long enough, so my decal moved. All right, so that's on. Be very careful because during that, it bent this a little bit and destroyed my sticker. So don't be in a rush. Wait till everything dries, such as decals, especially if you use Solvaset, because that makes them very, it basically makes them very flexible, which makes them very ply. So if you touch them, they'll just rip and disintegrate. So that's what I just did. So try to learn from my mistakes and don't do that. But you can see right now that this is actually bent. It's supposed to be straight, and it is bent. So I'm going to try to bend it back a little bit without breaking it. A little bit better. So we are going to now take our Maltiv, because it says to paint both these ends here and here a chrome silver. Give ourselves a little bit of chrome in there. And we can come in here and just pick those out. And then I'm going to turn the bike over and make sure I do underneath too. And that should pretty much flow all around there. I'll try to get in here without getting anything else. Okay, so that part is good, except for one more thing that I wanted to try, and that was adding just a little bit of gold on that nut right on top. Where is it? Moved my bike. This little nut right on top there. Right there. Any gold paint will do to grab that nut, but I'm going to use an old bottle of Model Master Gold. All right. And there we go. I don't know if you can see that. To the naked eye, it's a big difference. So I'll put a little, once that dries, I'll do a little panel line wash just to help it stand out even more. All right, next up is we have the side covers, which the one on this side is C12, the one on the opposite side is C22. So we will grab, and also you need two silver 1x2 by 2.5 millimeter screws. So we will grab C12 and a screw, and we'll get it on there. All right, so we've got C12, which you can see here, attaches right here to this little notch on the gold area, and then these go down here. So we're looking at putting that peg, one of these cords goes. All right, so which one was F? F was the closest one. So F comes up. So we got to make sure F is up and through this part. Goes in that hole up there. Okay, so this little piece right here connects in this little hole in the back of the radiator. So with that peg there, and then you line this hole up here because that's where your screw's gonna go. So this peg goes into this hole right here, your radiator. So it's basically going behind the cap. It's going behind the cap, and it's plugging in down here. And then the screw is going to hold it right here. So you've got a contact point here. And then you've got a contact point here. And then you got your screw. So we're going to grab, never works where you can just grab one. All right, so we're going to measure the screw. And I have the right size. So I'm going to put it on the tip. I'm going to put it right in that hole. All right, we're going to get our little Tamiya screwdriver that came with it. And we're just going to tighten that down slowly until it stops. And there we go. So then we're going to take some glue and we're going to touch right up here. And we're going to touch right there where it gets in the radiator. We're just going to push that in there. And we might have to touch up a little bit of paint, but it won't be too bad. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other side the exact same way we did this side. And then we'll be back to work on step number 21. All right. I didn't think I was going to show you how to put this one on, thinking it would be the same way, but just note that this part here goes to the same little bracket on this side of the radiator here, but you've got to tuck that little leg down behind this hose here. So not over the hose, but under the hose. So then you can connect it up here. It's easier if you hold where the screw is going to be and then make your contact points. Then we're just going to grab another screw. All right, so now we're ready to put our LED screen is now ready to go on. So basically, it just connects right to the hole. It connects basically right in this hole here at the front, right in front of this piece here. So we're just going to dab a little bit of glue in there. All right, there we go. Step 20 is done. We have our LED screen installed. We have this little device installed that rotates back and forth. Hoping we straighten that out enough. We have our side covers installed on both sides, screwed in. I'll probably paint those screw heads semi-gloss black just to hide them a little bit better. Now we will go to step 21 on this video as well and build the light assembly. And we will grab the Batmobile looking thing, which is right here. And we will grab our lights. There's E2. There is E3. So it says to take this part, and E2 will go on this side right here. And it has two little notches where they'll fit right down inside. So we're gonna grab that bad boy. We're gonna find our notches and try to push them right inside. And we're going to use, because I don't want to scratch it, we're going to use this and push ever so gently. So that one's in. There we go. And we did minimal damage. Yay. So before we seal those up, I'm gonna just do one little panel wash in there just to go through the lights. You guys ever have one of those days where you can't find any of your stuff that you want to find? I'd like to blame it on somebody else, but I can't. I'll blame it on my friend Dawn. How's that? That'll be a test to see if he's watching my videos. Don, I just blamed you. All right. So that'll have to do. Looks like some weird creature with eyes. Anyway, all right. So now the next step after we did that, and we glued those lights there, now we're going to take the bat. I just say it's the Batmobile. And we're going to glue it right there. But I'm trying to figure out where the contact point is. Okay, it's a couple little pegs here. So we're going to drop some glue and make sure which pegs they're hitting. They're hitting them right down in the corner here. And right in the middle here. Trying to make sure everything stays together. All right. Now we're actually touching a headlight. I think it's a headlight. So I'm gonna put my gloves back on so I don't get nastiness all over it. Because we're dealing with this piece right here. So let me see how this is gonna fit and see what I need to do. So we're gonna grab this little thing here, and those pegs go into that peg right there. And that peg right there. I'm definitely not gonna use super glue because that'll just fog it up. So I think I'm just gonna use my regular glue sparingly and see what happens. All right, so now we're gonna attach this bad boy. I don't know why it is. You test fit it and it goes right in. You put glue in and it just wants to be a bugger. All right, so we've got our glass in. That's gonna dry pretty good. Here we go. Pretty good looking little headlights. Which now, it says this little piece goes right on top of, there's a little hole there. So what we're gonna do is take our light assembly and we're gonna connect it right there and right there, like it told us to, before it's upside down. So I'm putting it in wrong. There it goes. Slides right onto those pegs with the eyes down, facing downwards. So now we can grab a little bit of glue and go around here and around here. Then, still holding it upside down, we can put this piece onto, let's see where it goes. All right, so I attached this piece to the bottom of the light structure, putting it on this little peg, and then connecting it down into the frame here, right where the forks go in and the center post for your steering wheel. So it all joins real nice. It's real snug. It needs to dry, making sure this cord, or I'm sorry, this hose is at the bottom, flexible and free. And this hose is free up here. So with that being said, the bike now has headlights and it has its side covers, which are still giving me fits. I guess they're flexible. Everything's glued and everything's solid, so I can't complain there. All right, so that completes step number 20 and 21, which I thought was going to be an easier step than that. A lot of painting, a lot of decals. I made the mistake on one decal. That sucks. Learn from my mistake. So look forward to doing the next step. And again, I appreciate you guys following along with me. And I hope you're enjoying the videos. If you are, give it a like button and give it a subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I'd appreciate it. So we'll see you next time. Take care.